So I'm just going to... Right. That is lovely.
Okay. I promised me Scouts Honour. I paid there ought to be a little period of grade. Great.
To be correct.
It'll be great, wouldn't it?
You would want to buy that.
So wherever you're from anyway, and however far you've come and however arduous your journey, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the weekend here. I have to say it's possibly the coldest of the Saturday afternoons we've ever had here. It looks as though we're going to be fairly dry. There's the odd spot in the air, and on my glasses indeed at the moment. We're going to hope that that's going to...
The greatest thing about John was Alex had his days of being extremely inventive, which isn't always sociable. And it was very much like that scene in The Wizard of Oz when there's the doorman at the Wizard of Oz. You can't come in, you can't come in. And there's these sort of rumblings and roarings in the background. And, I am the wizard, you know. But you never quite saw him. It took us a year or so before the wizard appeared. Obviously, when he did, we were well blessed.
So let's move on to the the club, which is now amazingly 40 years old. I'm a new boy. I only joined in 1980. It had been going for some time by the time I've discovered its existence. And I think there are about 100 members then. But if anyone is entitled and qualified to speak about the club, it's David Saunders. So David, can we pull you out of the crowd there, and can you come forward and give us a few recollections about the establishment of the club? Where did it come from? What was there before, if anything? And how you've seen it go. You know, you've seen it come from the beginning right through to the present day. So over to David Saunders, the founder of the club.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you very much. We'll all go a long way back, and I think for a lot of us, we have probably had a Moulton bicycle perhaps when we were young, and I did. I had a Moulton Triangle, the Triangle Moulton, and I had a Moulton Deluxe in the late 60s, it was second hand, and I used to ride to work. So I ride to school on the bicycle, and I still remember an image going down a hill. I didn't realise it, but I saw a flash of white. I was in the 60s, late 60s. I never found out who it was. It was in Saunders, so it could have been Mick Ives or one of the actual racing team actually practising. Well, I put the bike aside and I was doing other things, started work, and I picked up a copy of Cycling Weekly. And in those days, you got John Woodburn, Eddie Atkins, and all the famous riders of the 70s. There must be something special about this bicycle. So, well, I was working in Birmingham, so I went to the library, looked up who's who, and looked up the name Alex Moulton. I realised he was still alive, and I wrote to Alex and I said, I would like to start a club for this particular bicycle. And this was in 1974, I was just a teenager at the time, and I had a letter from John Benjamin.
David mentioned Pete Saunders there. Peter, could you come forward? Because I just want you to tell us a little bit about the one thing that always sticks in my mind. I remember meeting Peter when I first joined the club, must be 35 years ago it was. But there's just a little anecdote which is quite amusing here. A good point for a pub quiz, one of these obscure facts that's quite amusing, concerns the Severn Bridge. So would you tell us about that, Peter?
Yes, definitely. The Severn Bridge, which was built in around like the mid-60s, I live in Bristol, so it's not too far away. I always followed the interest of the bridge and the construction of it, and approaching the date when it was to be opened, which as far as I recall was the 7th of September 1966. By that time I'd had my Moulton Speed 6 from new, which I still have to this day. And I was determined to be the first person to go across the bridge. And it was opened officially at 7 o'clock. That was for motorists. What they failed to understand was that there was a bridge access level from the approach roads, which was for cyclists on one side and pedestrians on the other side. So there it was, completely unmanned, unlike the motorway. So I went across the bridge, and I was crossing Chepstow and back by the time the first cars were actually allowed to cross. Now, still not
falls off. This chain tension, the chain doesn't fall off because it's perfect tension, it's perfectly in line. And you get what I did for the 4-speed thing, I brazed on a new Sturmy Archer 5-speed wide range gear shifter, and that allows it to work as a 4-speed. So it's sort of indexed like that.
I think I got a 56 on there, and I ordered from Alec full wheels, but he sent me the rims and the spokes. And from Ron Kitching, I got in touch with them and said, well, do you have any 28-hole hubs? And they said, well, yeah, hold on, we've got something in these.
Made by one or two derailleur manufacturers, but no manufacturer was fitting 6-speed at the back. At that 14-inch Moulton bicycles, because 1965 was when the first of those was manufactured. They went on sale at the beginning of the following year, but this, of course, was the smaller scale at Moulton, and I think we have one or two of those around going to be produced. So if anybody is interested in bringing their Mini along, 14-inch wheel Moulton, that would be super. I know there's a very nice one over there. The point of the 14-inch Moulton really was to compete with, in particular, Raleigh and other manufacturers. The sizing of the original Moulton, it's always sold as a one-size-fits-all bike. Of course, there's always a compromise involved in that, and the average range for that bike was based around the average British male, so that 95% of average British males could ride the original Moulton. But what they found, of course, Raleigh in particular with the RSW16, which was very successful sales-wise, was they had optimised the ergonomics around the average British female. Somewhat smaller, less metal involved, lower cost and so on. And so the scaled-down bike, the Mini, came on the market, a 14-inch wheel rather than a 16-inch, 7/8 of the scale of the original. So let's have a look at this lovely blue one to start with. And if I could ask you to introduce yourself.
I'm Annabelle.
Thank you very much, Annabelle. And you have a role within the club, don't you?
Yeah, I'm the young junior mountaineer.
Excellent. And you have a column in the Mountaineer, don't you, as well? Excellent stuff. So I'm guessing you're Annabelle's dad. I think this is true.
Yes, that's right. I'm Stephen. This bike was originally, well, rather it still is, a very early M7, which means it was made here. It's stamped 1965.
Yeah. So thank you very much, one and all, for the Mini display.
I've got to get back. Mine, you'll finish at the same time.
He's on the watch. I've got another little camera that you can stick on the handlebars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Mr. Cameras. A little Mobius.
Is that photo or video?
Oh, this is a video.
Oh, hello there. Good morning, everybody.
I'm in place, yeah, I find it a bit of a liability, I do.
One's not enough.
Yep, I agree with you, sir.
Good. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
See you.
Yeah, and you.
See you next year.
Yes, yeah, definitely. In my new shirt.
I will ride it.
Careful.
You'd be better off on my Land Rover.
Yeah?
Bye.
Bye. Good.